When the war ended, the galaxy expected treaties, reparations, and uneasy truces. No one expected this. An alien warrior princess who had personally commanded the fleet that nearly shattered Earth's defenses, now living under the same roof as the son of the human commander who stopped her. Lyra Caith, once hailed as the Stormblade of the Veyari Armada, had led her people's ships in a blaze of plasma fire against the Terran coalition. For weeks, humans had believed they would break. And then, against all odds, Admiral Marcus Hale turned the tide. His bold maneuvers at the Siege of Aegis Belt crippled Lyra's fleet and forced the Veyari into surrender. Now, disarmed, humbled, and under the watch of Terran treaties, Lyra found herself far from the bridge of a battleship. She was in a cramped university dormitory on Earth, enrolled in a cultural rehabilitation program. And worse, her assigned roommate was Ethan Hale, Admiral Hale's son. Ethan had expected many things when he signed up for the Interstellar Exchange program. Maybe a shy alien scholar with big eyes and questions about pizza. He had not expected her. The door had slid open, and there she was, tall, violet-skinned, her eyes glowing faintly like molten silver, her posture radiating command even in civilian clothes. Her presence filled the tiny dorm room like she was still standing on a flagship's command deck. "You're Ethan Hale," she said flatly, studying him as if assessing a threat. "And you're the girl who tried to kill my dad," Ethan muttered before he could stop himself. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't strike. Instead, she dropped her bag on the lower bunk and sat down. "Correction. I tried to defeat him. Killing wasn't the point. Victory was." Ethan gave a half-smile. "You didn't get either." Her glare could have burned through steel. The first weeks were chaos. Ethan was stubborn, sarcastic, and endlessly curious. Lyra was disciplined, sharp, and infuriatingly proud. They argued over everything: room temperature, food, study schedules, even the definition of victory. But slowly, cracks formed in Lyra's armor. One night, when the power flickered during a storm, Ethan found her curled up on her bunk, breathing shallow, eyes darting as though expecting missile fire. "It sounds like the plasma cannons," she admitted in a whisper, embarrassed by her own fear. "I lost half my crew in the belt. I hear them in thunder." Ethan didn't tease her. He sat quietly beside her until the storm passed. Another time, Ethan caught her staring at a holographic star map in a library. Her finger traced the constellations of her home sector, her expression softening. "Do you miss it?" he asked. Her throat tightened. Every day, Lyra began to see humans differently through him. They weren't just stubborn apes clawing their way into the stars. They were curious, loyal, reckless, and, she admitted grudgingly, brave. Ethan in particular seemed to embody everything maddening about humanity. He joked in the face of danger, refused to bow to anyone, and carried the quiet weight of his father's shadow. One evening, after weeks of tension, their arguments turned into something else. Ethan had challenged her to a sparring match in the gym, insisting he wanted to see how a galactic warlord handles Earth gravity. Lyra toyed with him at first, letting him struggle, laughing at his clumsy attempts to counter her moves. But then Ethan surprised her. He adapted, learned, and with a desperate twist, actually managed to pin her for a heartbeat. Breathless, she stared up at him stunned. "You shouldn't have been able to do that." He grinned, sweat dripping down his brow. "Get used to it. Humans don't stay predictable for long." For the first time, Lyra laughed. A genuine laugh, not sharp or mocking. Word spread across campus. Students whispered about the unlikely pair, the alien war hero and the commander's son. Some feared her, some admired her, but all watched. And through it all, Ethan and Lyra forged something fragile yet undeniable, a bond born not from treaties, but from trust. The galaxy had seen them as enemies, as symbols of war. But in that cramped dorm, among shared meals and late-night arguments, they became something else. Lyra once commanded fleets that burned through human space. Now, she sat on a bunk across from the very bloodline that stopped her, sharing silence, laughter, and grudging respect. And though neither would admit it aloud, both began to wonder, Perhaps the greatest victory wasn't won in battlefields or treaties. Perhaps it was here, in a small room, where two enemies learned to see each other not as conqueror and defender, but as people. Ethan leaned back in his chair one night, glancing at her as she pored over a history book. You know, he said casually, someday people are going to write songs about us. Lyra raised a brow. Songs? Yeah, the Stormblade and the Admiral's Son. Sounds like a drama hollow, doesn't it? Her lips curved into the faintest smile. If they sing, they should sing of peace. And for the first time since the war, Lyra believed peace might actually be possible,